What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another video. Today we have part 2 of our defending tutorial, how to defend in FIFA 21. If you haven't seen part 1 of my defending tutorial, you can go watch that now, or you can wait till after the video and then watch it then. I recommend you watch it, but it doesn't really matter if you watch it before this video. They kind of build off each other, but not that much. It's not crucial. So if you are currently struggling to defend one-on-one against your opponent, stop his skill moves, make tough tackles, then this is going to be the video for you, because I'm going to be going over all that stuff and breaking down how to defend one-on-one in FIFA 21. Let's do it. What is going on, everybody? How are you all doing today? I hope you're doing great. As I said before, obviously this is part 2, so I'm going to be releasing a part 3 in a couple days, so make sure you guys subscribe if you're not already, so that way you catch part 3 when it comes out. So for this tutorial, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be talking, and I'm going to have a bunch of defending highlights in the background, so pretty much pay attention to what I'm listening to, and if you want to see how it applies in-game, just look at the video and see what I'm doing while I'm playing my FUT Champs games. All these highlights and these clips are from my FUT Champs games, so I'm playing actual real opponents. It's not like a friendly against my friends or some scrubs. This is FUT Champs, which is the highest competition in FUT. At least that's what they tell us. Okay, enough with all that crap. Let's get into the good stuff and some tips. Okay, so first we're going to be going over your stance and your positioning. Okay, so it is crucial to use the jockey button. If you don't know what that is, it's L2 or LT on Xbox. And you hold this button down, and what it does is your defender gets in a defensive stance. He kind of gets lower to the ground. He's a bit more agile, and he's able to make more tackles that way. He's able to make better tackles and also intercept the ball. So anytime you're defending and you're around an opponent, you want to be using this jockey button. So as I said, it's L2 on PlayStation, LT on Xbox. And then in terms of your positioning, what you want to do is you want to always be in between your opponent and the goal. So what this does is it prevents your opponent, obviously, from dribbling straight in on goal, and it also prevents your opponent from getting a free shot. So if you're in between your opponent and the goal, any shot he attempts will instantly be blocked. This is the case anywhere around the 18-yard box, because in this game, you never know. Sometimes there's wonder goals that shouldn't be going in, so you just want to prevent those as much as you can. Okay, this next tip is going to sound a little counterintuitive, but stick with me. Trust me, it'll make sense. When I'm defending in FIFA, my goal is to press the B button or the circle button, whatever console you're on, the tackle button, let's say, as little as possible. And you're probably asking yourself, then how the hell am I going to get the ball back if I don't press the tackle button? Hold up, listen here. In FIFA 21, you don't need to press the tackle button for your defender or the player you're controlling to make a tackle. If you're in a good tackling position, or you're right up next to an opponent, or your opponent dribbles into you, the AI will automatically, just instinctively, make the tackle for you. My rule of thumb when pressing the tackle button is I don't press it unless I'm 90% sure you're going to win the ball. Because if you press it and you don't win the ball, you're either going to foul him or your player's going to be lunging if you mistime it, and then he's going to dribble right around you, and you're not going to be able to catch up to him. Especially in this FIFA, more than any other FIFA, and I'm sure everyone watching this, you're going to be thinking this in your head, because we've all had this situation happen to us. Your opponent's in the penalty area, you lay a finger on him, he doesn't even move, doesn't fall, nothing happens, and all of a sudden there's a penalty out of nowhere. You're like, what the hell just happened?
The game is broken, EA Sports! The game is broken!
The ref almost definitely gave the penalty because you mistimed the tackle, which you manually placed by pressing the tackle button. So you could have prevented this by just waiting for him to make a mistake and having your player just automatically tackle him for you. I don't like pressing the tackle button inside the penalty area because I just literally have PTSD from this game. I've given up 100 of these BS penalties where I just lay a finger on the guy and nothing happens, and all of a sudden the guy's got a penalty and he scores and he's up a goal. Be very careful when you're pressing the tackle button. I say only if you're 90% sure, because the risk reward is just off, you know? So if you press it and you make the tackle, great. But if you mistime it, you're either going to get a penalty, or he's a foul, or he's going to dribble right around you. So be very careful, very conservative with that. What's up, guys? I just wanted to clarify something real quick, because I realized when I was editing that I kind of didn't go over this as much. What I mean by you want to wait to commit a challenge until you're about 95% sure you're going to win the ball back is you want to wait until your opponent makes a mistake when he's dribbling. So whether that be taking a bad touch, taking a big long touch in front of himself, or committing to a skill move. With skill moves, what will happen is the player will lock into an animation, and there's kind of no way that you can cancel that or get out of that skill move. So for example, on a turn or a McGeady spin, you can see the player starting to initiate that skill move and the animation will start. So you can position your player accordingly, and then when you have that play read and you're in the right position, you can press B to make the tackle. Things like that. So you want to just pretty much wait for your opponent to make a mistake, and when you have that chance to win the ball back, the ball is exposed or he takes that big touch, that's when you want to press B, because you'll win the ball back almost all the time there. Next up, we have right stick switching. If you don't know, right stick switching, it is crucial in FIFA 21. It pretty much, you can, if you don't know, you can switch your player, the player you're controlling, by using the right stick. So there are two methods that you could use. You can set up in your settings. There's ball relative and there's player relative. So how right stick switching works is you press a direction on the right stick and you'll switch to the person that's closest in that direction. So for player relative, it's relative to the player that you're currently controlling. So whichever direction you point, it's going to be in relation to the player you're controlling. And there's also ball relative, which wherever direction you point to, it's going to switch to the player that's pointing from the ball. Personally, I use player relative. I think that's what almost everyone uses. Is the default setting. But if you're just struggling with it and you want to try something new, I definitely recommend switching over to ball relative and just checking that out and just seeing if it feels better or how you play with it. The reason why right stick switching is so crucial in this game is because it allows you basically to switch to the player you actually want to switch to. Whereas clicking LB, it'll just like randomly pick a player or pick the player that you're closest to. I don't know how LB works, but right stick switching, it'll always go to the player that you want it to. So you really got to practice with this, because right stick switching is crucial if you want to perform some interceptions, and if you want to move a certain player around, or you want to realign your defense, and you want to, so you notice your right back's out of place, you got to right stick switch to the right back and drag him back or push him forward, things like that. So if you haven't used right stick switch yet and you really want to improve your defending, I definitely recommend practicing it. As for all these recommendations, especially right stick switching though, you want to practice them in friendlies and in division rivals. I never hop into a champs game and just go all out with all these new tips and tricks that you guys learned and think you're going to win, because you're probably going to lose more because you have no idea what you're doing, honestly. So anything new that you learn, you want to practice it beforehand and apply it in certain games and in competitive settings before you move into FUT Champs, because FUT Champs, if you're trying new stuff, you're just going to get torn apart because you're going to play worse than you were before because you're not comfortable and you're doing all this new stuff and you're going to be way out of whack. Right stick switching though is one of those things kind of tough to describe how to do it. You just got to know how to do it. I mean, the mechanics behind it is you just move the right stick, but knowing the right time to do it is kind of a thing you just learn when you're playing the game, and also picking up on your opponent's tendencies. It's really crucial for intercepting passes and reading your opponent, because you can know what he's going to do next, so you can switch to the appropriate guy and make adjustments accordingly. Okay guys, this is all I got for you for this episode. I know it was a very high level overview of everything. I didn't really go into too much details on stuff. I wanted to keep it short and kind of give you the basis for how to defend and give you the fundamentals. But if there is something that you're really struggling with, something I mentioned in this video, whether that be right stick switching or jockeying or when to time your tackles and things like that, just drop a comment down below. Say, oh, hey Mike, I need help with this. Can you make a video on it? And I'll be happy to dive more in depth and make a 10-minute video on one specific subject. So just if you're struggling with anything in general, just post it down in the comments. I'll do my best to help you guys out. And if you haven't seen part 1, go check it out. And make sure you check out part 3 when that comes out in a couple days. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one. See ya.